Om Sri Paramatmane Namaha. Om. Let all benefit from this book entitled For the Welfare of the World, English translation of Jagat Hitkarani, Sadh Anup Das, resident of Marwar. Printed and published by Sri Anup Das Printing Press, Chowni, Aranpura. Written originally in Hindustani, first published on April 17, 1909 AD, Baishak Budi, 1965 Bikram Sambat. Shri, for the welfare of the world, English translation of Jagat Hitkarani. An appeal. I have published this book for the benefit of the people in general, by putting in a lot of hard work and a substantial amount of money. Therefore, it is my humble request to one and all to read this book thoroughly, ponder over its content, and beware of the evil designs of these Baniyas. This English version issued on November 3, 1998 AD. Salutations to the Supreme Being. Many, many thanks to the Almighty, the Light of the world, the All-Merciful, the Formless, who created the earth, the sky, the entire creation, and nobody could unravel the mystery of His superb craftsmanship. To describe His glory is beyond my power of expression. In fact, in this book, I propose to write on a subject which can be summed up as the devils amidst the deep sea. To my horror, I have witnessed strange and shocking misdeeds of the businessmen and moneylenders in India known as the Saudagar Mahajans, and I thought it fit to share with you what I have seen and found. Therefore, I, a humble sadhu Anup Das, respectfully submit to all Hindus and Muslims, saints and sages, the pandits and the fakirs, the kings, the emperors, the rulers and the subjects of various countries and kingdoms spread over all the continents of the world, that the dubious practices variously called as Jadoo Chala or witchcraft, Rakshas Vidya or demoniac science, Kafir Vidya, the science of the infidels, and Indrajal or black magic are all acts of sin. The demon king Ravana had practiced these devilish acts and thereby overpowered the deities of rains and death. He performed the yagnas, the rituals of sacrifice, and thereby destroyed the thinking power of others. He practiced Indrajal or black magic and thereby engineered famine and other calamities on earth, captivated Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, and transported the entire riches to his kingdom Lanka. Similarly, King Hiranyakashipu, King Kamsa, Karun, and Raja Bal also committed this sinful practice. Now, after Raja Bal, it is these traders and moneylenders who are indulging in this nefarious activity. The Baniyas, people of traditionally business community, too have captured the forces of rain and death. They have thus destroyed the sense of judgment of the people by means of diabolism and caused famine and destitution in India after the death of Raja Bal. As Ravana had captivated Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth, in the same way they too have usurped the entire wealth of this land and carried shiploads of riches across the seas, just as Ravana had taken the plundered riches away to his kingdom Lanka. The Baniyas have engineered famine by practicing demoniac activity in order to take the entire wealth of India in their possession. India, as well as other countries, had once wealth in abundance. The ancient scriptures bear testimony to this fact. It is recorded in those ancient texts that in the Satyuga, the golden era, things of common use were made of gold, and even the poor had vessels made of gold and silver in their homes. There were innumerable mines of precious stones everywhere, and therefore the kings and the ruling elites had all that they wished for. I want to tell the people of the world with certainty that till the time of Raja Bal, it was a golden era, the Satyuga, and in that age there was great prosperity with gold and silver, as also food grains available in abundance. Famine was totally unheard of since the time the Mahajans, the moneylenders, have started causing famine on earth. The prosperity has been disappearing. Had these Banias, the business community, not caused famine, the golden era of Satyuga would have continued. After the time of Raja Bal, there has been a spate of famine conditions and diseases of various kinds. The wealth has been drained out, and the people at large have become impoverished. Things have been getting from bad to worse. The sinful activities of these traders, the Saudagars, are responsible for this situation. They have spread out their business centers to other parts of the world with the intention of monopolizing the money power in those countries and jeopardizing the future of the people and their children. They are out to destroy the prosperity in other parts of the world as they have done in India. Besides, they are planning to lure the kings and monarchs of foreign lands to establish their rule in India by stirring their greed for the riches of this land. Those foreign rulers will then be finished off by these Saudagars, who will keep themselves untouched by their scheme of destruction. They are getting the children of the Hindus and the Muslims killed in other countries, making sure that their own children are unharmed. Following in the footsteps of Ravana, who had laid a trap to destroy the whole world, these Saudagars too want to destroy the mighty empires of the world, and one day they will achieve their objective. Ravana had thought that when there would be very few people left on earth, he would rule the entire world unchallenged. In the same way, these Banias have also laid this trap with the intention of usurping the economic power of the world. By practicing their demoniac activity, they would first destroy the sense of judgment of the people of all the 7 or 8 empires, so that they should fight amongst themselves to acquire the riches of India and ultimately destroy each other. Thus a time would come when very few people in those countries would survive. The Banias know when that happens, other people will easily be outnumbered by their own progeny, who will then establish their rule over the world, which nobody will be able to challenge. The Hindus believe that in the Kali Yuga, a time will come when nothing would be left and only a small hamlet would be found at a distance of about 200 miles. The Muslims say that in the 14th century, according to Muslim calendar, a severe famine will strike the earth and there will be nothing left to eat, forcing human beings to eat other human beings. Such prognoses of a fearful future are floated by the Banias with an ulterior motive, which they attribute to the wise and the virtuous men of the world. They then perform black magic or demoniac practices in order to create situations similar to the forecast. The Almighty, who has created the entire universe, is merciful to all the creatures living in any part of the world. It is the unscrupulous people indulging time and again in fiendish and sinful acts of black magic on this earth who have caused calamities and destitution in the world. This sin has been committed many a time, and the children would get rid of after a lot of suffering. This ancient occult art was developed and practiced by the Banias themselves. They taught this sinful practice only partly to Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, and others, and subsequently got them killed by catching them in their trap. They have kept the mystery of this ancient occult practice as a closely guarded secret and would not let anybody get wind of it. That is why their devilish activities have not so far been unearthed, resulting in unabated suffering in this world. Their sin is not known to the people because it has not been found out. I was tortured by them in the same way as Shanishara was tortured by Ravana by practicing demoniac black magic. Since the entire exercise was done in his presence, he could gain access to his devilish activity, and so he told the whole world about it. They also have inflicted suffering upon me by practicing their demoniac ritual in my presence, and that is how I have come to know about it. Let me tell you that the kings and the potentates, namely Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Karun, were born in the Indian subcontinent, and yet they could not get wind of the secret activities of the Banias, who were the inhabitants of India. How then would they let the rulers of foreign lands gain access to their designs? In India, the children of both the Hindus and the Muslims suffering from abject poverty can still live peacefully, but for the nefarious designs of the Banias, who, by way of black magic, intend to destroy the good sense of the Indian people so that they may develop enmity and ill will and then kill each other. People in other parts of the world then think that both the Hindus and the Muslims of India are basically bad elements, and they would never know that the seeds of trouble were sown by the Banias, who had got the good sense of the people destroyed through their sorcery. By their evil designs, they would get the Indian people massacred at the hands of the people holding power in other countries. So, it is my humble request to you, the Europeans and others, to dismantle the spell of these people's heinous sins. If you can achieve it, the future generations in India and even in your lands will be saved of total annihilation, and for that they will be grateful to you. These Banias are very shrewd people and do not let anybody know about their act of betrayal. They will later on wipe out your children so that they could rule the whole world unchallenged. They have very secretly and assiduously laid a trap to lure you to invade India for her wealth, so that when you have come here and got into their trap, they will then make you their target, inflict rivalry amongst you, and ultimately get you destroyed at each other's hands. These Saudagar Mahajans embarked on their ambitious plan of controlling the money power all over the world after the time of Raja Bal. It is under this plan that they tempted the world powers to come to India. In this way, these Saudagar Mahajans have spread their network of demoniac activity all over the world. Though outwardly they will maintain contacts with everybody, yet secretly they will continue their sinful act day in and day out. You people are completely unaware of it. So please give a serious thought to what I am writing about. Take a stand unitedly against their nefarious design. It is my fervent appeal to all the Hindus, the Muslims, the Christians, and the rulers of the whole world that they should abandon greed and avarice and join their hands in order to foil the diabolic designs of this merchant community. On their success in this stupendous task depends the future of the present and coming generation of the world. Otherwise, these traders and moneylenders have spared no efforts to doom them to death and destruction. The very purpose of writing this book, Jagat Hitkarani, is to acquaint you with their wicked designs so that you could think of some counter device to frustrate their secret plans of taking in their possession the riches of the whole world by creating rivalry and ill will among different countries and kingdoms and provoking them to destroy each other. In the ancient times, King Ravana had committed this sinful practice, and consequently, people had lost their good sense. He had tortured Lord Shanishara, who told Vibhishana that his brother Ravana, with the help of invisible forces, was causing havoc on earth, and as a result, people had lost their thinking power, and a number of deadly epidemics had spread worldwide. He then requested Vibhishana to put a stop to Ravana's sins, since being his brother, he must be aware of the secret activity of Ravana and also of the place where he was performing the demoniac rites. He, Shanishara, impressed upon Vibhishana that if he failed to get such activity stopped by making public the secrets of his mystical rite and the place where it was performed, it would cost him dear, so much so that his own family would be subjected to untold suffering. On hearing such fearful forebodings from Shanishara, Vibhishana thought that since Shanishara had come to know about his brother Ravana's devilry, he must not try to hide anything, or else he too, along with Ravana, would be tormented and harmed by Shanishara. So Vibhishana, who was religious-minded and God-fearing, confided in him the details of his brother Ravana's sinful act, which the latter had thus far been keeping a closely guarded secret. Ravana's kingdom Lanka, which was till then hidden under the deep sea, surfaced after Vibhishana made that disclosure. When Shanishara confronted Ravana with his questions, the latter had to tell the former, though not fully, but only partly, what he did day and night. He wanted to keep some of his secrets only to himself, so that he could still retain the demoniac power to cause devastation and then establish his rule over the whole world. Realizing this, Shanishara pondered deeply and decided to tell the world about Ravana's designs and secret activities. He let the people know that armed with his demoniac powers, Ravana had controlled the deities of rains and death, and having done so, he had been causing disasters at his will. It was a horrifying revelation to the people of the world, who then knew it for certain that it was under the influence of Ravana's magical rite that they had lost their sense of judgment. They expressed their gratitude to Shanishara, who had opened their eyes by telling them about the misdeeds of Ravana. Had Ravana not tortured Shanishara, people would not have become aware of Ravana's sins, and Ravana would have achieved his secret ambition of capturing the whole world and making people suffer miseries and misfortune. Having suffered at the hands of Ravana, Shanishara warned the people of the world to be on their guards against the evil designs of Ravana. The warning was taken very seriously by the people, who then got united to foil the designs of Ravana, who had secretly planned to wipe out the population of the world except his own clan, and to take all the continents of the world under his own command. When people succeeded in demolishing Ravana's devilish designs, happiness returned to them and their progeny. References to this effect are found in ancient scriptures. The Puranas and other ancient treatises contain references which describe that the demon king Ravana had set up the city of Lanka in the midst of the Ratnakara Sagara, the Indian Ocean, an unending expanse of water. Simultaneously, he created heaven and hell, and also 84 lakh kundis or pits brimming with blood and pus. The kundis bore the names of the sages to ward off the outsiders. Thus the city of Lanka was made impregnable, and anyone who dared venture into the sea in order to approach Lanka was instantly drowned. The strong spell of the Indrajal let loose by Ravana made it impossible for anyone to enter the territory of Lanka. People did not know that it was Ravana's magic power which prevented them from entering Lanka. It was during the time of Ravana that the contrivance of dreams and planetary positions to create an unwholesome influence on the minds of the people was first practiced. He also produced and circulated some mystical literature of his demoniac science with a view to destroying the wisdom and the sense of judgment of the people. Ancient writings contain references to this effect. The people of the world decided to dismantle the spell of Ravana's magic rite and got ready for that, but they did not know how to reach Lanka. After some time, a strategy was planned, and accordingly the kings and the rulers, as also the subjects of the whole world, raised a huge army and captivated Ravana's brothers and sons who were living in India along with their forces. They were harassed. Ravana's brother Bibhishana was persuaded by Shanishchara to disclose the sins of Ravana to all the kings and the rulers of the world, and only then the people of the world could be saved. But for Shanishchara's concern for humanity, Ravana would have succeeded in wiping out the entire human race. After Ravana, King Hiranyakashipu did the same thing. He too got destroyed the thinking power of the people under the influence of his magical rite. But again, during his time, the rulers and the common people joined hands to undo the effect of his sinful act and thereby save the world from total destruction. He too had planned to annihilate the entire human population and to take in his possession the entire reaches of earth.